This looks like shit. Looks a little bit better. Okay. No one's on, but I'm just gonna start because I need to do something. Got 120, 35. Shauna Bannon is fighting some lady, apparently from TikTok or whatever. And Shauna Bannon is just not very good, but this other lady's also not very good, so it's kind of one of those fights where it's just a matter of who's worse rather than like who's good. So that's always fun. God. Okay. Cool. What's up? So fucking, I got this this bin of negatives that I've been moving with for a while now because I just don't have time. And for a while I was like, oh, what I should do is just make a video out of it and then incentivize myself to like actually do this. So here we are, we're doing that, and that's what's gonna happen. Coincidentally, there's a UFC event on, so I'm kind of watching that because that was what I was gonna do with my day. So like work and do that. So might as well. Let's see. Watching that, doing this. Let's see. Very like I don't know how to describe myself when it comes to like my abilities in terms of technology. But adept is not a word I would use. Like, just imagine like trying to tell your, elderly grandfather how to work a computer. That's pretty much me when it comes to stuff. But anyway, we'll just fucking rally on. So I got these print file negative sleeves. These are the ones I typically use. I got this handy dandy binder thing that has like the clips and stuff. And the hope is I want to get organized in life and have enough of these like lined up to where it looks pretty. But again, that requires time and patience, and those are two things that I've not had as of late, but got nothing else to do, so we'll do that. And I don't really know the best approach here, like if it's, maybe I should put the negatives in the sleeves first and then put them in, or what would be best, but so probably should be wearing gloves, but I'm not gonna do that because actually I probably should. I should probably wear gloves for this. Let's see. This fight looks like ass. Nice. Using light. Okay, sweet, good stuff. Thank you, Sean. But yeah, this is my place here, as you can see. It's really nice. My work desk is back there. I have a lot of, like, there's like bay windows, I guess, here, and they're great. Like, I love having the natural light. It's a vast improvement to the basement situation, but the downside is like there's a closet, and that's about it in terms of like a dark area. And I could definitely like tint the windows off and like do that whole thing. God, this fight looks horrible, just in case anyone's curious. I could do that, but it's been hot, so I'm like, I don't really want to. And again, it's a time situation, and it's just, I don't have that time necessarily. But I think as the price of things has like gone up as drastically as it has, I'll definitely be looking into doing some more darkroom stuff. My friend, kind of locally friend, has a nice basement setup in which she does darkroom stuff, and I keep thinking like, oh, I'll reach out and learn a bit more from her. So eventually we'll get there. I actually made a video where she was showing me and some of my homies how to print photos, so feel free to check that out on the channel. Let's see. But yeah, that's the plan. This is such a tedious thing, and this is one of those situations where it's like, if I'm staying on top of it, it's not that big of a deal, but because you might not have seen the bin if you're just joining me here, but I have like a bin of it. So it's to the point where it's out of hand, to say the least. So I think some time spent doing this will be good, and then next time, that hopefully as they come in, it will be a little bit less daunting. But anywho, let's see how it shakes out. I also have just 25 of these, so not a whole lot to work with, but we'll just kind of go from there. The cost of developing film, though, is just insane to me now. These are actually all blank, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to put these in there because these are literally all blank. Fun fact, this one was a roll of film that I gave to my girlfriend like a little bit after we met, and she got about 19 shots in before I think the camera died or something. I don't really know what happened there, but anyway, it's a short roll, so it makes my life a little bit easier. Those I will just put there for now, and I will sort through later. Here is the Pentax 17 half frames, so we'll put that in this next sleeve here. I'm still working on that Pentax 17 video. The hope was to have that done by today, but audio issues. I'm gonna have to re-record a lot of it. So I'll do that probably after this, and then, geez Louise, this is a god-awful fight. Shauna Bannon, fucking, she's Irish, so like there's a lot of hype around her because Irish fans and stuff, but she's just not very good, and this other lady's also not very good, so it is a very painful war of attrition to behold. Anyway, Pentax 17 video, part of the way there. I just have to finish recording it and then edit it, so I guess I'm not really part of the way there at all. The shots that it came back, I have to say, they're pretty nice, I guess, in the realm of what they could be. I was talking to my buddy about it, and I think the issue I was kind of running into was towards actually even the beginning of the roll. I really didn't want to shoot with the camera, so I think that the results kind of speak for that, where it's like I'm just trying to get through shooting with the camera, so I'm done shooting with it, and I don't know. Not my favorite photos I've taken. It's a lot of just kind of trying to get through it. But in terms of like optical quality, pretty sharp. I would say I don't know. Downside, like zone focusing. I get it. Like it's never been like how does one zone focus? Like I understand it, but I think really it's not the most accurate way to do it. And I don't know like what the correction would have been. I guess like a rangefinder situation would have been cool, but that's kind of a lot. This is, wow. This is not fun to watch. Anyway, I'm gonna check the chat here, see what we have. I'm glad that there's other bins of despair out there. Makes me feel a little bit better about my situation here. My hope, though, is that by the next time I move, which I hope to stay here for a little bit, but the hope is that next time I have to move, I kind of dwindle down my bins of despair, because I had one for a while that was just like lens filters. I accumulated a mass of lens filters from a couple punches after the bell. That's sweet. Lens filters from my last job. My boss was like, hey, throw these away, like we don't need them. And I was like, okay, for sure. And then I thought maybe I could sell these, and then I had them for, let's see, since like 2019 to this year, and I think I maybe sold 0 of them. I gave them away a bunch, but nobody wants to buy lens filters. And I was just like, I have hundreds of pounds of glass that I keep moving from one spot to another in just the world's worst storage container that was just consistently falling apart. So I finally parted ways with that. It was an emotional moment, but you know, life goes on. These are the Canon Demi negatives. So that's cool. I'm just gonna start putting those in here. And I think between, oh fuck, I was gonna make notes of this. Let's see. Between the two half frame options, which I'm not really a huge fan of half frame, just generally speaking, the Canon Demi is just like, it is just a better camera. Like it's so nice. 6220. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of shooting with it. And if I was going to shoot half frame, which is a big if, I would definitely shoot with the Canon Demi again, because it is not only like much more attractive camera to like bring around, but also just feel more confident in the fact that it's not going to fall apart in my hands. Because I feel like the 17, it's super expensive, and then also I used it very lightly, I would say, just like had it in my bag, would take it out of my bag, and every little scuff was shown, and it just does not really fill one with confidence. So, oh my lord. Let's see. Not worried about putting fingerprints on negatives. It's all good. It's all good. I probably should be. I got the like gloves for it because back when I was like gonna scan my own film and stuff, I got those like whatever cotton gloves, and I think I got like the extra large size. Not to say I feel like my hands are too big for the gloves, but like my hands were too big for the gloves, and I might not have. I don't know if they shipped me the wrong size or I just got from a unreputable source, but they were not the extra large kind. Or no, maybe it was like one size fits all, and I just am not the size that fits all. I'm curious though, why are you not a fan of half frame? Because I'm not like either, and I think it's just because I feel, I don't know. I think with like half frame stuff, I want to not shoot with the same camera for so long. And a lot of like the half frame and half shot was with like Ektar H35, which is just a horrible camera to like use. It feels not good. And then the 17 is kind of the same thing. It just doesn't feel good. The Demi, I feel like I kind of want to use. It feels more solid. It feels more fun to use. But even then, I think I would just rather have a different camera. I don't know. I've not really explored it too much. And again, I don't also make prints of my images. So like the quality isn't always like the biggest thing, because I'm like, well, I can't blow this up as big as I would a full frame or whatever. I just think ultimately 72 shots of one roll of film is kind of a lot to ask, and I don't know. just it doesn't appeal to me, and I don't know many people that it does appeal to. I did talk to a guy who had a really fond experience with the Demi 17, and I kind of want to incorporate that into my video somehow, but he went on a trip, shot with it, and ended up only using the one roll of film. And I kind of get that, because, you know, if you're not wanting to pack too much, that's awesome. You just have one camera, one roll of film. But because I'm me, I like to have 35 millimeter, I like to have medium format, I gotta have video camera so I can make a video out of it. And then if I have all that, I might as well have, you know, my camcorder to make a little, like, fun video. It ends up being a whole thing, you know. I got the whole ensemble. So that's a personal thing, but, you know, in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not going to just bring the one camera and the one thing of film, so kind of defeats the purpose. But I don't know, in another life, it'd be kind of nice to not have a bunch of shit all the time. A bunch of stuff. So watch my language. I also got to get better at my ums and neds and all the other stuff. Filler words. What's going on here? This is just a god-awful fight. Too many frames to get through. Not a resolution chaser, personally. Yeah, I kind of agree. 120 TLR. I enjoyed 120, honestly, a lot. I am going to be making a video very soon about my Bronica that I like a lot. I think it's the C2, the Bronica C2. It's an electronic controlled one, and I got it for $100, and I love that thing. The lens, it's a 50 millimeter lens, so it's like really wide, but it is, gotta love the head and arm takedowns. It's a very wide lens. It has a lot of mold in it. It looks a little bit more like a petri dish than a lens, but it still takes really sharp images. I like it a lot. It's not a Hasselblad because I don't have fucking Hasselblad money, but I like Bronicas. I think they're cool. Other single lens ones, it depends on what you want to do. I know a lot of people like the Pentax 645 and the Mamiya 645s. I'm kind of iffy on 645 just because I'm thinking like 645, the format is kind of, I don't know. Yeah, you're getting more out of your roll, but again, it's like 16 shots. I just like 6x6 too. I like the square, and not everyone's gonna agree with that, but I like the square a lot. So the 645 thing with that size, I'm like, I'd rather just shoot, I think, 35 millimeter. And on top of that, the form factor of like the Mamiya and the Pentax, it feels like weird boxy, and I just never really got used to that. So that's not for me personally, but I know a lot of people like those. And then the other big single lens one would be the Pentax 6.7, which at first I had one for a bit of time there. Then I sold it. Now I have two, I think, that are both kind of parts cameras that I feel like I could probably cobble together and make a working one out of this. And one second, about to get the decision. Got, I think based on the little bit I was watching this fight, I think Shannon Bow, or whatever the fuck her name is, I think she's probably gonna win, even though it was a terrible fight. Yeah, she won. Every now and again I'll watch a fight and be like, oh, that's like a world beater, like they're on the come up, and then watching that I was like, she won, and I'm happy for her. She looks very happy, but I think that's hopefully the peak of her talents there. Anyway, Pentax 6.7, great camera, bulky to bring with you, and again, going back to like my personal preferences, I usually have many cameras, so the 6.7 kind of becomes your sole camera that you're using. And I would say it's probably the same with like the RB and the RZ67s. I think if you're going to do one of those, stay away from the RZ, electronic controlled circuits and stuff, and nobody really wants to work on those. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot more failures of those in the future. So best to not invest in there. The RB is nice, but it's more of like a studio camera in my mind. You kind of want to set it up and just do your thing. My buddy TJ has one. I have a video that I'm hoping to make relatively soon. And honestly, like, the way he shoots with it is perfect for him, because he'll just like set up and like, you know, make a few adjustments to his settings and like take the shot, and then like take the same shot and just kind of like whittle down all of the different variables to produce favorable results, which I admire. I am not built that way. I just a little bit more, not fast paced necessarily, but just kind of like shoot, and then, you know, figure it out later, as you can tell by my bucket of negatives. If you prefer mechanical over electric, I would definitely check out some like the older Bronica models. They're very affordable. And if you want 6x6, that's a good avenue there. I like the TLRs a lot though. I got my Mamiya C330, and I think the form factor of that's great. I think how you hold it too is just going to give you a steadier shot than a lot of other things too, which goes back to the 645 stuff there. And then I saw a couple other comments here. So Amazon. The only reason I bought film off of Amazon is because I had there was like 5 rolls of Color Plus for like not a lot. I think it was maybe like $45, and I was like, that's the cheapest I've seen it for a while, so I bought it from there. And that's the only time I bought film from Amazon, and I would not recommend doing that again. Adorama's nice. I've not really bought a whole lot of those, not a lot from them. I feel like I bought some like gear from them, like maybe the tripod or something else from them that wasn't film photography related, but they've got good stock as well. But Freestyle to me is just, they're the business. I like them a lot. Let's see. This was Minolta, the black Minolta. I think it was like the SR. Ooh, that's embarrassing. It's always funny, like watching the fighters get up to the cage, and some of them like pause and wait because they like know, but then other fighters will like just kind of like try to get in the cage because there's like a medical checkup. They like rub grease on to hopefully prevent some cuts and whatnot. And I just think back to like back in my day when I would like wrestle, you kind of have like, or any like athletic thing or anything of a competitive thing, you have to kind of switch your mindset a little bit. And you have these like little rituals that you would do, right? Like you listen to a certain song, or I don't know, like whatever like stretches you would do, whatever practices you would do, stuff like that to warm up. You have like a bit of a ritual built in. And I always think like anything that interrupts that would just throw me off. And some people are wired a little bit differently than that, but I kind of had my own little ritual. I had things I like to do. And then if anything would throw me off, I'd be thinking about that or thinking about something else. And I just watch the fighters as they walk up, and if they like get interrupted or whatever, it kind of throws them off their game in my mind. But I also feel like to get to this level, you have to be a little bit more mentally sound than that. But this is Mick Parkin fighting Lucas Brisky, I think it is, or something like that. Mick Parkin looks to be like an actually talented heavyweight. I think he's fought once or twice in the UFC, and Lucas Brisky has fought 3 or 4 times, and I think he's lost all but one of those. Just kind of standard European heavyweight, where he's just, you know, he seems like a great guy. He's just not very good, and I think that because this fight card's taking place in England, Mick Parkin's an English fighter, it's just kind of, you know, lamb to slaughter sort of situation. But we'll see, we'll see. They're both 6'4", allegedly. And Lucas Brisky is like almost 30 pounds lighter, which is completely bonkers to me. That being said, I'm kind of stoked that there's not like a middle heavyweight division or something like that. That would be... There's no need to thin out the talent even more than it already is. The mentality with like heavyweight MMA is there's like 4 or 5 good heavyweight fighters, and then the rest are just kind of fun. But even then, it's like there's 4 or 5 good ones, and then there's like 4 that are fun, and then the rest are just not very good, kind of overweight gentlemen. There's this one that they like gave a main event to, and he got completely gassed in like, I think it was like the first round. It's very sad to watch. I got a comment. Camera straps. I have a neoprene one that I use on my Nikon F3. I like that quite a bit. The old school straps are fun and fine. I usually don't use a camera strap because I'm a heathen. Usually just like have it in a bag or something like that. But I do prefer having a strap. I don't like the thin ones because I feel like it just cuts into my neck. And because I am just the whitest human being ever, if I think about sunshine, I get a sunburn. It's usually like my neck is the first thing to go. Even if I'm like facing the sun, my neck will still get burned. So when it's like cutting into my neck and it's hot, I'm like, ugh. It's bad. It's bad news. So I like a thicker strap, if anything. The neoprene ones are nice, but the problem with those is there's like the cushion, but I also feel like they absorb sweat and smells and stuff, which is kind of gnarly. The older straps are kind of cool, but the flip side is the vintage ones, and I saw this because we order a lot of like shit cameras, like there would be ones that have like sweat stains in them, and that would just gross me out. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like very particular about things until I really think about it, and then I'm like, oh, I am super particular. Like I try to be easygoing and stuff, but then when I think about it, I'm like, oh no, I am a very difficult person. Let's see. Another thing of Pro Image that I shot through a Pentax ME wide hook from Lucas Brisky. Not good. 6217. Image. One day I might go back through and like rescan a lot of this stuff, but I have a Epson V550, which is just, it's not good, especially with 35mm negatives. It's tough. Like it's really hard to like get anything that's like usable out of it. So it's kind of a pipe dream for now, but maybe at some point I will go back through and redo a bunch of this stuff. And I think that's the other reason I've like not really gotten into developing negatives, because what am I gonna do with them? You know, like just have a bucket of them, because there's actually got a few in there that I developed years ago and I've never scanned or processed past that point. So I don't know what's on them, and part of me kind of wants to know, but also a lot of it was just like testing out cameras or whatever else was going on, so it wasn't like, you know, precious memories that I need to savor. Is usually just like pictures of me in the mirror or of my cat, which are precious, but I've got thousands of pictures of that particular feline, so I think the world is okay with 1,000 fewer of them. Other brand new film. Oh, the Rolly 35 AF. Okay, so I have many thoughts. First, I wish that I had hitched my wagon to that instead. The Pentax project. Ooh, uppercut over the top. Ooh, yeah. Mick Parkin wins. Minute 37 left in the first round. That was beautiful. Way to overwrite the stinker that came before it. Anyway, the Mint 35 Rolly, whatever the fuck. I think it looks great. I think having an autofocus system is kind of cool. I kind of feel like, again, me personally, I used to watch like a lot of older like camera reviews and stuff like that, like digital camera reviews. Back when like the EOS R was coming out, I was in film school and I was looking for like a compact kind of cinema camera to use. And one of the things that always gets mentioned is like the camera's autofocus leaves a lot to be desired. And I don't really like autofocus too much. I use it for my videos and other stuff, but like for the most part, if I'm filming something, I kind of prefer a manual focus. So when people would like go on about the autofocus thing, I just would kind of tune out. So the fact that this one has an autofocus, it's kind of like cool. Like it's cool, but it's not like something I was personally clamoring for. But that being said, I think there's only so much you can do with film cameras because unlike a digital camera, you can't upgrade the sensor. You can kind of upgrade the optics, but like good luck telling anyone like what that means. I mean, look at the Actar H35 versus the H35N. They were like, oh, now we have a glass optic in there. And people are like, cool, you know, like it doesn't matter as much. So I think if you're going to make a significant change, adding an autofocus system is great. And I prefer that as opposed to like, you know, removing the manual advance lever and trying to put in some kind of like motor drive system that's going to fail. So that's nice. I don't know. It'd be cool to get my hands on one, to use it, but I don't think I'm going to buy one necessarily. So it might be, it kind of feels like a little bit more of a one-off too. I don't know what else Mint is like planning to do past that point, but it does feel a little bit more like we're just going to roll this out and then kind of be done. I don't really know where you go from there. So those are all my thoughts on the Mint Rolly 35 AF. Let's see. I do not know anything about tightening up a monopod. And yes, sorry, I'm not really a tripod monopod person too much. I had a Manfrotto tripod that I really liked using because it was nice and heavy, but one of the legs was just like super gimpy. Like it would just always like start dipping on me. So I would use it for like a light or use it for like a mic stand or something like that. But even then it would start failing. I think I got rid of it. I might still have it somewhere, but I tried tightening it, but I think I just needed to replace the whole leg, and I was like, I'm not dealing with that. And then when I was working at the camera shop, there'd be some people that would come in and they'd be like, hey, I need help with like my tripod. And I would just be like, we don't really do that here. And then they'd be like, okay, bummer, no big deal, whatever. And one time I said that, and then my boss came out and he's like, what do you mean? Like we can help him out. And then he spent like the next, it was way too long. It must have been like 20 minutes digging through like this little bin of parts to find like the right thing, and then put that on, and then didn't charge the guy. And he spent like 20 minutes finding the part and then like 10 minutes fitting it. It was like half hour, and I was like, dude, like, ugh. It was wild. It was wild, because then he'd go on to complain about how little time he had. It's like, yeah, that's why, dude. Anyway, God bless him, wish him the best. All right. Actually, I think I might have some more of that in this order. Yes, I do. This is from a Petrie. No, the Fed 5C, which I might have a little video on, as that was shipped in by somebody that I bought some stuff from this guy on eBay, and then I made a video where I was like, what the fuck happened to this camera? It's like this was attacked by like a Neanderthal. And then he saw that and was like, hey, I'm gonna send you more stuff. And I was like, whoa, hey, like, I was thinking like anthrax or like, you know, some kind of like something. It's like, no, it's okay. Like, you know, he's like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll just send it to you. And it was like a bunch of stuff that he couldn't sell, basically. And one of them happened to be the Fed 5C, which I ended up getting a lens for, and it worked out just fine. And I think the video would be kind of fun. The negatives came out all right. It was the, I shot it on Fomapan, which turned out pretty okay. And allegedly, I saw a comment, but somebody was saying that, Fomapan, or Arista EDU is just recanned Fomapan or something like that. So if that's the case, that's pretty neat, I guess. I also just saw that Arista EDU is now coming out with DX coded film, which is kind of convenient, because there's a few cameras out there that like require DX codes in order to have any kind of ASA readout. So nice to see that, I suppose. So we got another comment. 127 film. Okay, so yes, I have some experience with it. Get ready. It's another fun and unimportant story that I have to share. I'm looking at a 127 camera right now. It's actually loaded with film. And then I have the little like baby Rolleiflex thing. I think it's like the Yashica 44, I think it is. Anyway, so here's what happened. What had happened was, I have this really good friend of mine who lives in Canada, and she sent me a bunch of film one time. I sent her a bunch of film. It was a whole thing. It was really sweet. She sent me a roll of 127. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I don't know how she came across it, but she's like, here you go. I was like, oh, cool. I like dumb stuff, so this is great. And I had it for a while, and then my parents bought this house down in Arizona, and the people that they bought the house from, listen, I'm not here to talk trash, but they were, yeah, so they had like a bunch of stuff that I'm sure they cherished deeply, but you know, stuff. And one of them, they had like random cameras, and like, you know, I've got cameras laying around here because I think cameras look cool. I think it's nice to have them on presentation sometimes, but about 90% of the ones I have kind of strewn about, like I could pick up and then use. They're like functional cameras that have film in them, but they had like old, you know, land cameras with like the peel apart film that doesn't really exist anymore, except kind of, and then they had like a bunch of other like random stuff that was just kind of decaying actively in their home. So one of them was this like, I think it's a Kodak. It's like a little foldy camera, but it shoots 127 anyway. My parents were like, oh, you like cameras, do you want any of this shit? And I was like, And I was like, oh, maybe I'll take that one because I mean, it at least looks kind of good. Um, Real quick, side note, I love when there's like a UFC fighter who hasn't won a fight in the UFC yet, and they're trying to put together like a, I don't know, like a sizzle package, a sizzle reel for them before they walk out, and it's just like usually one or two nice punches that they landed on the guy that they got knocked out by. Anyway, that just happened. Kiefer Crosby's gonna fight Sam Peterson. I think Sam Peterson's gonna win, but we'll see. Anyway, that camera has that roll of film in it, and I think I'm like 6 shots through it, but it's been sitting out for so long now that I'm pretty sure it's fried. So got that. And then with the Yashica 44 or whatever, I found it online for a screaming deal, and I thought, man, what a cute looking camera. Not looking into it at all, and it was like really affordable, and I was like, well, this is such a low rate, I should just get it. Like, I should just buy it and then figure it out later. Big mistake, because it ended up not being a working thing. So I have now one of those things. It works fine. I don't have film for it, and I might at some point for a video make film or make a video about it, so I'll buy the film and do all that. But it's another one of those things where it's like I don't really want to, you know? We'll see. Okay. This is HP5 that I shot through, I think, my MX a very long time ago, like a year ago. And then this is the like Orwo, Wolfen Orwo, whatever, like 3-speed film that I shot. So really captivating stuff there. Do the HP5 first. But yeah, that's my experience with 127 film. I just don't really want to spend the extra bones to get it developed and all that stuff. And I don't even know how to, like, because it's like a little bit bigger than 35 millimeter, I think, like fractionally larger. But I don't know. I guess that's the other thing, like, film photography project would be great for is they have all of those resources and they have all of the stuff for that, which is really nice to like revitalize older, you know, film stocks that nobody knows about. But acquired taste is what I would say. Kodak Bullseye. Yeah. I've got a Brownie Hawkeye somewhere around here. It's my grandma's old camera. And I've shot 35 millimeter through there before, and it turned out okay. And then I had a roll, I've got 2 rolls of like really old expired 620 film that I bought from Blue Moon, which I regret purchasing because they were very expansive. But I don't know if I'm ever gonna like shoot and get that developed or not. One of them was black and white, and I think that's the one I shot, and then the other one was color, and I was very hesitant to like commit to that because I just don't trust it. As someone who shoots like a lot of expired film, and you know, I like the look of it every now and again. I think it's kind of fun. You get some really unique shifts and some really unique qualities that, you know, you really can't achieve anywhere else. I don't know. It's just with the prices of things now, it's just the juice really ain't worth the squeeze all the time. But again, if I got back into developing myself, scanning it myself and all that, I could really make sense of that cost because why not? Like, it's just, you know, waiting there. HP5 MX. put 2023. I had a thought earlier today. I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta readjust. Sorry. Oh, man. Like thinking about what year it was and birthday's coming up. So I'm like, how old am I gonna be? Just, one of those conversations that you have with yourself when you're starting to lose it. And it's like, oh man, it's 2024. And you start thinking about like, the whole lockdown stuff was like 2020, and like that was 4 years ago, and then before that, like what I was doing, and just time flies, and it is just crazy sometimes. That was meant to be a more like succinct thought, but really just thinking back, and then again going through like the tub of shame over here. It's like sifting through just years and years of memories and pictures, and like, I don't know. I think that's kind of why I like shooting film more than anything, is because you have this very like tactile, physical relationship to it, as opposed to digital, where it's just this kind of corporeal thing that exists somewhere out there. And not to continue to belabor the self-imposed pity party here, but like, if I'm developing my own film, if you develop your own film or whatever, like you experience that tactile benefit even more so, because you're feeling it, you're dealing with whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting to be able to like physically touch the past like this. Also, Sam Peterson just got kicked in the nards, so it's really funny to like have some kind of philosophical thought shared, and then watch someone get kicked in the nuts. Like right as I'm trying to like land some kind of poignant metaphor to life, and then it's this guy getting kicked in the dick. Like, it's just, oh man. Anyway, that's the romping Bronco way. It's just deep philosophical debate, and then getting kicked in the nuts. Hey. Anyway, that's all. This is great. I appreciate you all watching, by the way. This is definitely, I'm sure, how everyone wanted to spend their Saturday afternoon. 2483. Let's see, 2483, and that is Wolfen. This was, I think, was the last roll I shot in my F4 before I sold it, and that's a decision that I am so stoked about. Let's see. I am in Oregon. It's very beautiful, very green out there. There's no air conditioning. Oh, he just won. I looked away and he won. That's cool. Sam Peterson won. So, for all of the no one out there that's interested, that's what's happening. Yeah, I live in Portland here, Portland, Oregon, to be more specific. And it's nice. I like it quite a bit. I've been talking about it a lot because I had some family come up to visit, which is why the video release schedule's been a little bit hindered. But it's the summers are a little bit rough because nobody really has air conditioning, and I just don't think this is a good climate for 100-degree days. But despite that, it's beautiful. You feel like you're kind of always within reach of some kind of nature, which is nice. And it's a very small, like, city, which is cool too. It's not like as bad as I think a lot of people would lead you to believe. There's definitely some rough spots, like where I used to live. Where I used to live, it was basically beyond Thunderdome, you know? Like, it was just, I used to live like way out because of a whole lot of reasons, but really I had to live pretty far away because rent is expensive. So I lived out there in the, you know, deliverance areas of Oregon, and I was working remote, so it wasn't a big deal. But then I got a job where I wasn't working remote anymore and had to drive, and it's such a hassle to get everywhere. But you're not going very far. It's like even today I went to pick up my buddy and then drop him off at the airport. John, actually. Definitely check out John mock film if you haven't. He's great. But anyway, I took him to the airport and he moved. He's like, I don't know, like 5-8 miles away, I think, something like that. But it takes like 20 minutes to get there. And I was just hitting red light, red light, red light, red light, red light, red light, red light. It's just insane to me. But anyway, same shit would happen back where I was living out yonder. It was just red lights. And then I went out there not too long ago because a customer's package was shipped there, which was awesome. And instead of like telling me or, you know, forwarding to me or anything of the sort, the tenant who lived there like didn't say anything. I had to reach out to the landlord because the customer was reaching out to me, and the landlord was like, "Oh yeah, LOL, he has it and he didn't know what to do with it." I'm like, okay, it's just been like months, and I don't know, maybe fucking reach out to me, but that's cool. So didn't do that. I had to drive out there to get it because anyway. And they put in a bunch of like speed bumps everywhere. And I was like, what the fuck is this about? Like, it already takes so long to get out there, and now there's like speed bumps every like 2 feet. It just was very obnoxious. But now I live a little bit more close to like civilization and to, you know, human beings, so that makes it a lot easier. It's like a little 10-minute drive away from just about everything, which is nice. Yeah, I've almost been doing this for an hour. That is insane. Let's see. Can you pump your own gas? Yes, we can do that now. It was a bit of a shift, to be honest. There was like a lot of people that didn't know how to do it, and they do be spilling gas on themselves, but it is a thing you can do, and that makes me happy because the gas station lines were just, it was not fun. Nobody was having a good time. Yes, Seattle's cool. Was there for like Memorial Day, I think. Not for me though. I gotta say, Seattle's cool, but just not necessarily for me. The comparison sometimes made between Portland and Seattle, but I feel like Seattle and San Francisco maybe have more in common than Portland and Seattle, because I think Portland's just so small. Seattle feels a little bit more like involved in the tech industry, like, you know, San Francisco area and stuff like that. So it was interesting to like spend a bit more time there and just kind of see. We went to the there's a museum there, the pop culture museum, I think it is, something like that. Was pretty cool. That was neat. And then in terms of Sacramento, I have driven through good old Sacktown, but I've not spent any amount of time there, really. I almost went there with my buddy to get a car, and then we ended up coming up here to get it, and then it broke down, and it was a whole thing. A fun story, I think, in hindsight, but at the time, not very fun. So this next roll is the roll of Lomo 92. I don't know if any of you guys have shot Lomo 92. I don't like it. I'm not a particular fan of it. I think Lomo and all of their like Loma Chrome films or whatever, like the more experimental stuff, they're just not for me. Um, I think my philosophy is kind of predicated around because I've shot so much expired film. Like I like dealing with expired film because it's unknown variable. You can get all these different results and stuff, which is fun. That's fun and cool. But a lot of the expired film I got for free or I got for like pennies on the dollar, so it's not a big deal. But with lomography and lomochrome film, it's like, all right, so I'm spending a lot of money, and then I'm gonna have inconsistent results that I'm probably not gonna like. And I feel like like there would be, I would take a shot and then I would take another shot of like the same thing, maybe like bump the exposure up or down a little bit or whatever, just to get like a little bit of a difference in variables. And it would still be like one would be way blown out or the other one would be way underexposed, and like despite what I'm doing, that doesn't seem to have any effect on the outcome or the result. And I don't know if that's because like I need to scan them myself, or if it's just I have the world's worst luck, which is possible. But regardless, it's like, what are we doing here, dude? Like what is, I don't know, man. Who wants this? Because like film's already expensive, and I admire Lomography because I think in their catalog of products, it's a lot of fun stuff. There's like their fun cameras, and 110 can be fun because it's a toy little camera thing, but it's so expensive that it's not fun anymore. You know what I mean? And it's just like I'm constantly thinking about the cost of things, and I don't want to. Like, I hate thinking and talking about money stuff, but like I'm kind of driven to that point because it's become such a factor. Like, you can't talk about film photography anymore without acknowledging the fucking elephant in the room that is the cost of it. It is completely insane. But it is how it is. So, I don't know. I just think with lomography stuff, it's like they're trying to like make it a fun, exciting thing or whatever, but I just can't get over like the expense. So, yeah. Save stuff with film. That's kind of how I agree too. Yeah. I'm a sucker though, I'll be honest. I want to be excited. I want to like get into stuff. So I ended up like buying dumb shit like the Pentax 17 and like the Harman Phoenix film, which is just kind of like not very good. Oh, my buddy TJ just sent me a playlist. That's sweet. I can't wait to check that out. I fucking love TJ. He's great. Anyway. The Harman Phoenix film is kind of the same thing, where it's like so cool. It's like new color film, and it's just not good. Like it's just straight up not good. So I think when I get something like the Pro Image, it's like, oh, this is a film stock that's very affordable. I just got another 5-pack for not a lot of money, and the results are consistent, and it's a known factor. I'm excited about it. I want to shoot more of it. I want to invest more in it. But like with the roll of Phoenix that I got, I'm like, I don't want to shoot this anymore. And I feel like that was kind of a lot of people's approaches to it. Like, there's the initial level of excitement of like, oh, this is like new. I'm part of something new, because we all want to be part of something new. Like, I think a lot of film photographers now, especially like my age, where this is all in my lifetime. Yes, there's been new cameras that have come out. The Nikon F6 came out within my lifetime. A lot of like the later stage autofocus Canon cameras came out in my early lifetime, pre-cognitive development. The Leica MP, I think was the last one, like the M10, That might be the digital one. Anyway, the larger point being is there's not been like a major release in my cognitive lifetime or in my interest in film photography lifetime. There's not been a major film release in my lifetime, there to speak, except for Ektachrome E100, which... So, like, the prospect of new film, new cameras, all this stuff, that's very exciting to me, just inherently, because it's something that, like, I spend so much of my time thinking about, talking about, sharing with others, like, oh, these companies are, you know, bringing stuff out. I'm like, nice. And then you get it, and I'm like, why do you hate me? Like, I'm out here trying to prop up your entire business, and you spit on my face like this. It's tough. It's tough to deal with. We got some 110 film from eons ago. Just gonna put that somewhere. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Harmon Phoenix. We carried it at the shop I was working at, and I was the only one who worked there who had shot with it, so anytime anyone came in to ask about it, it was kind of like referred to, oh, Alex, fucking talk to him about it. And yeah, I kind of became like an anti-salesperson for it, which is unfortunate. But let's see. Yeah. Harmon Phoenix is just not for me. Is this... Aw. Nice. I need to find this roll. Let's see. Well, I need to find it in my hard drive here. I think this was... I don't know what this was, actually. It's a, I think 24 exposure roll, ultra. Be Arista maybe or something like that. I don't know. Fucking. But it's got pictures of a dog who was like put down about a year ago. So that's very sweet. Great dog. 555 6. Dog, black and white, house sitting. Get some water real quick. How's the audio, too? Like, is the audio fine? All of the 5 people that are watching? Very concerned about your guys' experience, as you can tell, while I meander my way through this really riveting discussion. Alright. Modestus Bukauskas, again, Lithuanian guys taking on Marcin Prachnia. Modestus Bukauskas was a Cage Warriors champion, which is a UK promotion, so it's kind of a big deal there. But Marcin Prachnia was like pretty mediocre, I would say. He's 3-3 as an underdog, which means good. I'm glad the audio is clear. Thank you, sir. Which means he's usually not favored to win, and sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. 3-3 as an underdog is literally, there's a 50% chance he will win, but he's likely not the favorite in any of his fights. So that's cool. Modestus Bukauskas is like good until he isn't, and it's a very like it's what's the word I'm looking for? Rapid decline in the middle of a fight. He'll be looking amazing, like a world beater, and then all of a sudden he's lost. And it's just like, what are we doing here? I think I say that too much. What are we doing here? I just feel like I'm always interrogating like, what's happening? I'm just always very confused, but we'll see. Should be fun. Dun, dun. I keep teasing the idea of like wanting to only shoot black and white because one, like affordability, but then two, it's like a very it just feels like a more natural, not natural, but like just a more authentic approach to film photography, you know? Because I feel like color you kind of get drawn into, especially with like Cinestill and stuff. I find myself getting drawn into like the neon sign hunt and like trying to find things that like look cool in that environment. And I think with color, you kind of do the same, where it's like, oh, pretty flowers, nice sunset, stuff like that. Like those are the things you're trying to take photos of. But I feel like with black and white, you know, you're just kind of more concerned about general composition and stuff of that nature. And I just think that might be nice to kind of shift gears into. But every time I have that thought, like, oh, I want to try this film out, and then I end up putting like, you know, whatever expired Portra or Ektar into my camera and doing that instead. So the interest kind of ebbs and flows, but I think with like the Ferrania film especially, I just get really jazzed about wanting to shoot with that. It's just, it's so expensive. And again, it's kind of an unknown variable too, because sometimes the results are nicely done, other times, you know, things are like really oddly exposed, too dark, way too blown out, and it's just hard to say what's going to happen. There have been, I think, 3 leg breaks in the UFC, and I've seen 2 of them live. Fun fact. I was like watching the fights with some friends years and years ago. I guess it was 2021, and one of them was, this was the, I know what this role is, I'll get back to that in a second. Chris Weidman's leg break and Conor McGregor's leg break, which were horrible to watch, and I hated it, but I got everyone's reactions, so that was pretty fun. This roll was the roll I shot through my waist level viewfinder K1000, which was a thing that I did. And I know it's the, let's see, it was Fuji 200. You might be able to tell. You can see that there's like some clear light leaking issues going through the whole roll, because you're not meant to shoot the K1000 without the top and without a prism on top of it. And I did, and the results were not that bad. They weren't great, but they weren't like unusable. There was just, you know, it was the middle part that was good. Everything on either side was very much light leaked, but I think it was a fun experience. I hope to revisit it at some point, but we will see. Ooh, that was nice. That was very nice. Okay, Modestus is looking good, but too early to tell. Yeah. Let's see, I've been doing this for, what, a little bit over an hour, and I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 12 sleeves done. And I only have my whole bin still to go through, so that's good. Let's see. No kicks in the nether regions yet. A pretty good leg kick, but nothing really to report there. Yes. So with black and white, there's obviously a stigma. I've talked about this with a buddy of mine too, kind of a while ago, but he'd never really like shot black and white, and then he's like big, much more into like Instagram and like the social media stuff than I am with his photography. Oh my goodness, my desk just got clipped with a huge right hook. Anyway, he's like, oh, my black and white photos don't perform as well, and I thought we had a very interesting discussion about it. We'll get back to that, but I don't view my photos in those metrics. Like, I'm just taking photos to take photos for the most part. And I kind of want to get back into Instagram because more opportunity, more exposure, all this other stuff, but we'll see if that shakes out. For the most part though, I was like, dude, like, don't worry about it. Like, in my mind, if you want to do something, do it. And if you don't, then don't. And I think when you start allowing other people to like influence your decisions, obviously, listen to rules and laws and stuff like that. But I think ultimately, like, if it's just a project that you want to entertain in your own life, in your own time, then go for it. And I think ultimately that's kind of been my approach to this channel and other things like that, where I'm just going to kind of do the stuff I want to do. And obviously things like the popularity of certain videos are going to influence my decisions moving forward. Because ultimately I want this to be like something that I can use to kind of achieve more success out of, I suppose, while also helping others and like sharing what little information I have. But at the end of the day, like, if I'm making a channel or making videos, I want it to be about something I care about, because it makes it a lot easier for me to talk about, because it's something I know, something I'm passionate about, and something that I feel like more honestly I can share. Whereas if I was making a channel talking about like football stats or even baseball or something like I don't care about those things, so I'm not gonna do that. And to an abstract degree, it was the same conversation I had with him, where it's like, if you're forcing yourself to take, photos with Cinestill or photos with whatever, like, if that's your thing that you're forcing yourself to do, like, not only does that really limit what you can achieve, but then also it kind of makes it more of a chore in my mind. Like, I'm more like, it's not fun anymore. It's like, it's a thing I feel like I have to do, and I feel like I have to meet these metrics for everyone else, but I'm not doing it for me anymore. And that was kind of the gist of it. So I don't know. I like shooting black and white because I think it's a different way to do it. I think it's a little bit more nuanced, even though it is a little bit more minimal. But I think the fact that there are fewer flashy things means it can sometimes, you can derive a more quality image out of it. And to answer the bulk loading thing, I would love to do bulk loading because I feel like that would be the answer to a lot of my troubles and worries. But again, kind of goes back to all of the windows I have here, and tenting all of those up, or like working in a closet. I get really sweaty very quickly. I just have like a really dense body, So when I'm in like a closet space, sorry, I'm also kind of watching the fights here. It's very fascinating stuff. It's just, I get sweaty, I get uncomfortable, and then I get stressed, and it becomes like more of a thing than I think I want it to be. So I might talk about the bulk loading things in the winter time, when it's a little bit colder and the sun isn't out until like 9 p.m. up here, because it gets dark so late. It's coming back down, but like yesterday we're out at a concert outside, and the concert was like starting at 6:30. I think the band ended up wrapping up at like 7:30 or something like that. Like playing for like an hour, hour and a half maybe. Maybe it was like 8 o'clock, and it was still like really bright out. And anyway, it's just shocking stuff. Ugh. Ugh. Readjust. Eh. All right. Next up, Yeah, also too, if you bring your twin lens out, I've noticed that like anytime I bring my Mamiya C330 out, it just becomes the talk of the town. Ooh. Awkward. Let's see. This is Lucha stuff. This is someone else's film. I made a video a while ago when I was talking about, like, I guess it wasn't a while ago. Dark bag would be really smart. Yeah, and like I'm really good in dark bag. Like I've loaded 16 millimeter, like 400-foot cores of 16 millimeter. I had to do it all, like unload people's film cameras in a dark bag. Like I'm pretty good at it. Just don't have one, and they're like very affordable. I don't ever think to get one, but I will probably eventually very soon because it'd be nice. We'll see. I had like two different trains of thought going, so I'm going to finish the first one, which was the Mamiya C330. That is an invitation to discussion, which I love. Like I like the inherent interactions with others that brings, because everyone's excited to see it. Like, oh, is that a film camera? That's super interesting or whatever. I did bring my Bronica to Michigan last year. I'm sweaty as hell. Jesus, it's awkward. I brought that to Michigan last year. Went to like some, it was like a candy place or whatever in the Upper Peninsula. Went with my girlfriend and stuff. We're buying some candy and stuff, and the people behind the counter were like so excited about the camera, and they're like, "Oh, you shoot film on this stuff," and then like they're like, I was like, "Yeah, of course," and like I'm just talking and explaining the film camera, going into way too much detail as I do, because anytime someone like shows any modicum of interest in my thing, I just go full like Manchurian Candidate and just recite all of the information I have about it, which is enough for most people to just mentally check out and then also be like, okay, I'm gonna go mingle somewhere else. Let's see. So I'm doing this, and there was like 4 or 5, not Mackinac Island, but close, Marquette. So, you know, I guess not really that close. I always thought that the Upper Peninsula was like super small, but I drove from Detroit to Marquette after waking up at like 3 a.m. in Florida to get on a flight to Tampa to Detroit and then drive up. It was a very long day. Next day we're in Marquette, all this stuff. Anyway, these girls are all like very interested in my film camera and stuff, and I like am talking about it, and my girlfriend's like, these girls are like, they won't leave you alone. And I was like, as I'm talking about it, I'm not even paying attention to them. I'm just like excited to talk about my film camera thing. And then they all start leaving. they all, except for the one that was like taking our order, and she was just like, cool dude. And it was maybe like, I wasn't doing it for like 15 minutes, right? It was like, you know, a good minute or 2 minutes or whatever, but it was just like enough bullshit that they were just like, nah, I'm not listening to this. Anyway, I used to, a buddy of mine I went to high school with, we wrestled together. He is into, or he's not into, he's like an amateur pro wrestler or whatever. Independent pro wrestler, I think is the proper term. And I went to a few of his shows. I like did some of the videography, did some of like the photography for him. I got booted in the head because I didn't realize, like with the lucha shows, the rings don't really serve as the confines for the action. They kind of just do whatever they want. And we're in the middle of like this grocery store in Phoenix, and I speak and I can understand this much Spanish. The saying is, I understand and can speak an offensive amount of Spanish. basically enough to the point where like I offend myself and others around me because I look like an idiot and sound like one too. So I try not to do it. I can do the donde está el baño, that's important, and then also no habla español porque soy muy blanco. You know, I don't speak Spanish because I'm very white, which is also not that's not how you're supposed to say it, but it's for goofs. Anyway, at this lucha show, where I suspect most people did kind of speak English, but they're all speaking Spanish, I kept hearing them talk about the white guy, the big white guy. So I'm like recording this and get booed in the head. I'm taking photos of it, all this stuff. Ultimately, the moral of the story is if you want to spend a lot of your own money and your own time and receive very little feedback, very little reward financially or otherwise, go to a fucking pro wrestling show. They don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I like shot a lot of film and like was doing video stuff and was editing stuff up, and like, you know, some of the wrestlers would be like super grateful for it and they'd come up and be like, "Yeah, thanks, man, like this was really cool, whatever." But like the promoter or like the organizer or whatever, like nothing. It was like, "Hey, where can I set up?" And it would just like walk the other way, or it was like, "Hey, where's the paycheck?" And they're like, "Huh, we made no money," and then walk away. It was very funny. And then also like the crowds that those events, you know, it's it's an interesting scene. So these are some of the photos I shot there, which was fun. Modestus Bukauskas again looked like an absolute world beater until he looked like he was gonna get knocked out immediately, and then he got a pretty clutch submission. So I don't know ultimately what that says about him and his career, but he continues to be really exciting and then really unexciting, and nobody got kicked in the gonads. So I guess that's what we do. Some more lucha photos. There's also like, I don't know, the lucha stuff is just kind of strange to me. I know it's like a more of a cultural thing, if anything, that I'm just unaware of, but it was very, I don't know, unique, I guess. People were great, absolutely loved that. They always had like food and stuff, but I was like, I don't know. I just felt kind of weird because like, I'm just here to take the photos and stuff. And then also I felt like in the off chance I was going to get paid, which didn't ever happen, but in the off chance I was going to get paid, I was like, well, I don't want them to like track how much I'm eating and deduct that from my non-existent paycheck. So I decided like, okay, I'll just, you know, I'll fast a little bit and then, you know, get Mexican food on the way home. But that didn't work because I ended up just not getting any food, not getting any pay, and then going home. But I got some decent photos out of it and met some interesting individuals that I would not have met otherwise. Very strange, like I said. But, you know, God bless him, wish him the best. My buddy's still doing it. I think he's doing pretty well. I don't know, not for me. Like I said, I wrestled in high school, and that was about the peak of my competitive nature, I'd say, because I'm not a very competitive person. I don't have that edge to me. Also, just in case anyone's interested, the fights are taking place in Manchester, England. And I don't know what time it is there, but the main event is supposed to take place at around 5 a.m. local time, which is just completely absurd to me. I cannot imagine, like, having to compete in those conditions. No thanks. No thanks. Let's see, 85 minutes. So what's that, about an hour and a half doing this? I still got a whole fucking tub to go. Like, okay. That's all one thing. Oh my fucking god. Okay. So, bear with me. I have no scanning setup. That's where we're at. All right. So fucking Jesus Christ. No, I didn't get all of them. These are all of the envelopes that are like plumb full of negatives. I've shot a lot of photos over the last few years. Actually, there's more in there, but this is just like one of the batches. I kind of rubber banded them together. I've gotten through like 2 smaller envelopes, basically. So there's still like a good amount, and that took about an hour and a half. Yeah. So, not trying to be like the glass is completely empty kind of guy, but the glass is pretty fucking empty. Like it's this thing ain't filling up anytime soon. So, a few different things. We can do more live stream things where I just do this, which could be fun for someone, maybe me. Or I could do this on my own time, or do something else with my life. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but probably not going to end anytime soon, honestly. I'll probably watch the rest. Where are we at with the card here? We've got the early prelims going on next. I think what we'll probably do is I'll watch up to the Muhammad Makayev Manal Cop fight, and then I'm gonna go do the rest of the recording for the other stuff and go from there. Leave them in their sleeves. That's a good thought, but I think I'm gonna do this instead, only because I want there to be like a very uniform thing. And like, as fine as these are, I don't like really like it too much. I prefer this approach a lot more because I can like label them, and also I do need to go through them too because there's just so much stuff in here, and if at any point in time I want to go back through and rescan stuff, I want to have like some kind of directory, especially considering how many photos I do have. It could be nice to have some frame of reference and not just like, yeah, they're in there somewhere, you know, and then have to sift through a bunch of stuff, and I don't know. I want to lead a more organized life, ultimately, and that's going to require more effort than I think I understand a lot of the times, but that's what live streaming is for. Actually, let's see. How many of these do I have left? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 of these left. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just go to the end of these, and then I'll obviously have to order more. And then we'll pick it up again at a later date. I think that sounds doable. I do like these binders a lot, though. I've got the older binders that I was using, just like kind of standard binders, and I put like of different stickers I had on there. I had like, I'll dig them out towards the end after I'm done with this, but all the old like boxes of film I would kind of cut up and put on there because I thought it would look kind of cool, but I don't know what to do with those now. I kind of want to transfer all of those into this, cause again, to just kind of keep in the uniform nature of them. I think these kind of hold a little bit better, but we'll see. So we got more live streams. Thank you, sir. We got someone out there who's interested in seeing more of this. It's funny because like, I was thinking about like, oh, what am I gonna talk about? Like, I'm gonna live stream for a bit of time. I should like come up with some topics to go through. But it's kind of the same with like the videos I do. it just has to be off the cuff. Like, I can't do like scripts. I can't do like talking points super well. I can probably do them if I tried harder, but I just like path of least resistance in most things in life. And for me, that would be just off the top of the dome. What am I thinking of? What's going on in my mind? And kind of go from there. When it comes to like scripting stuff, it's hard to kind of commit to that because I'll like spend a bunch of time, write out like a little thing, and then I'll start recording, and it just like in my mind it feels forced, and then I feel like my delivery is forced, and then it just kind of feels like not very good. Let's see, this was December of 2018. Jesus Christ, what a throwback. Went to Los Favoritos with, anyway. Oh, just like cracked the middle of my back there. If anybody watching this, any of the 6 people out there, thank you all again for watching. If any of you is ever in like the Phoenix area, Arizona area, definitely check out Los Favoritos. I think it's like Papachevos now, I think is the other name. They have some of the best burritos out there. That and Salad and Go, which is like a drive-through salad place. That's what I miss most about Arizona. Yes, I had friends there. I miss them. I miss other little things, but honestly, Salad and Go kind of hits pretty hard. It's like, it's just so nice. They're like $5 salads, good size salad too, and you drive in, you just get a salad, and that's it, and you go on with your day, and it's so nice, and it blows my mind that somewhere like Portland here, which is, you know, I'm pretty sure the capital of quinoa, doesn't have Salad and Go. Like, it shocks me. They would just make hand over fist money up here, but instead we got nothing. But that being said too, like, it being Portland, it would probably be like a $20 salad, which kind of defeats the purpose. But anyway, Los Favoritos has some of the best Mexican food, like in terms of accessibility and price, that you can imagine. It's fantastic. There's an argument as to whether Los Favoritos or Filiberto's was better, but every time I had Filiberto's, I don't know, like it was like a grease bomb going off in my gut. I really did not enjoy it. And I don't know, maybe I was ordering maybe the wrong things or something like that, but it just felt like a little bit more Taco Bell-esque afterwards. But Los Favoritos would be like decent sized burrito for a good price. And then afterwards, like, I feel like I can actually continue living my life and not, oh, I need to take a minute to collect myself, you know? So, if for whatever reason you find yourself in Arizona, those are my recommendations. There's obviously a lot more and better stuff to do and eat there, but those are just things that I enjoy. So, wanted to share that with y'all. I gotta record the rest of the Pentax 17 video after this, I think. And that's kind of, again, the benefit of it being, it's 4:40 here, and it's still like super bright out. So I got some tan. I got a bunch of customer cameras to go through. So we'll get to those. Oof. Let's see. Check the chat real quick. Nice. Get some airflow on my legs here. Getting a little toasty. All right, this feels nice. I feel like I'm making some kind of difference here. There was a point I was going to make earlier where I was like, oh, going through memories and stuff like that, and some of these aren't very good, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do about that. Yeah, like I used to just give film and film cameras to people and then have them like do whatever they want with them. And I, like most people my age, have dated other ladies, and sometimes I have their negatives and photos I've taken of them, and I don't really always know what to do with that, so I'm just going to set that aside because don't need to be dealing with that. Got more lucha photos. So much fucking film of like half-naked, obese men wrestling each other. It's a little concerning. Some of the videos I got were fun. And like I said, very high energy, very enjoyable. The people were always very nice, especially like after I did it a few times. The first time I think there was a little trepidation. Like, again, who is this giant white guy? And why does he look so hungry, kind of thing. Yeah, then after I was like kind of there a bit more, would know some of the people a little bit more, and I knew like to not get kicked in the head. I think that made it a lot easier. But you know, things that come with time and stuff. Rid of that. Get some water real quick. Nice. Oh, at the concert yesterday, I saw a lady using a Minolta X370. And again, going back to my Manchurian Candidate comment, I almost went on a whole little tirade about it, but I thought better of it. I was like, she probably does not care about that at all. And I had, I'm testing the Pentax LX right now, and part of me wanted to be like, oh, nice camera, like, what do you think of this one, or whatever, but I was like also not really in a conversational mood. But the Minolta X370, if you don't know what it is, it's not like, it's more like the plastic Minoltas, like the X700, the X570, stuff in that range. They're very interesting looking cameras. They have like this weird little leather patch over the advanced lever, and it's kind of reminiscent of like an AE1 program, but the leather, I feel like, whatever, it's a rubber patch, not leather, but rubber patch, and it dries out really bad, and I don't know how to make it not dry out, so it just ends up looking really like that weird white dry kind of look. I feel like it really, in my mind at least, devalues the overall presentation of the camera. And it just kind of bums me out because it could be a really good camera. If it wasn't like all plastic and stuff, it could be pretty solid. But those like minor little details, I think that I am probably the only one that really cares about, but it just, those things kind of throw me off things more than anything else, I guess. But I saw that and I was like, that's a camera that I've not spoken about and or thought about in a while, so I thought I would share that now because, again, it's not enough of a concrete thought to really make a video out of, nor is it really consequential enough to speak about in any other venue than this one currently, so I'm sharing with you now. It's an exclusive live stream only thought. More fucking lucha stuff. I didn't go to that many lucha shows, but I think that's just like the time period in which I'm in is very lucha heavy, like 2021, early 2021. Jesus Christ. This one was the one in the grocery store. Yeah. So anyway, that was the thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about was a movie that I watched earlier today, which just got put on Netflix. It's called Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's a Guy Ritchie film from like 2015, I think. And it's such a like mediocre movie, and that it's not very good really at all, but it's also not really bad. It's just kind of like very middle of the ground. Like I wasn't blown away by it in either direction. It was kind of exactly what I had anticipated it being. But that's always nice. Like, it's a nice little like comfort film sort of thing. And also Henry Cavill is really good in it. Like, I thought he was very suave. And there was the discussion about Daniel Craig, who played the protagonist in Layer Cake, which then got him the role of James Bond. And Layer Cake's a really, really solid movie. And I think that's Matthew Vaughn, or like Matthew Vaughn wrote it or something like that. But anyway, it's a solid film. And I feel like Henry Cavill's performance, like if he wasn't as big and bulky and Superman and stuff, like, you know, probably could have landed him James Bond, because he's a suave gentleman, Henry Cavill. And also just like listening to him like talk about stuff that he's interested in, it's very nice. Like, wow, you are a nerd just like the rest of us. Oban Elliott is fighting Preston Parsons right now. Oban Elliott is Welsh, which is cool because they have a really cool flag. Preston Parsons is an American. He's a really talented wrestler, really rangy striking as well. I don't know much about Oban Elliott, except that there was like some weird hype behind him. I don't really remember why, but just like they were posting about him a bunch. He looks pretty good. He's defending a lot of the takedowns, which is pretty huge because Preston Parsons, like I said, is kind of more of a wrestler. But he's looking really alive on the feet. It is 2 minutes into the second round. Preston Parsons shoots for a double leg. Oban Elliott sprawls, gets to the fence, and circles around, gets Preston up against the cage. Looking good. Scott on the back there, but nothing like crazy, just back control right now. Now Oban Elliott goes for the takedown, drags him down, Preston gets up. Not going to do the play-by-play thing, but it's a very interesting fight thus far. Oban Elliott, I didn't think was going to do this well, because Preston Parsons has looked pretty good, but so far, pretty good little fight. Oban Elliott's pretty elite at selecting ranges, which is nice. So that's cool. That's happening. Also, I don't know if this is going to make it in the final cut of the video, but I was recording a video the other day about repairing something, and in the midst of it, I thought, what better time than now to talk about another movie that I watched recently, which was Sahara, anyway, with Matthew McConaughey. And I see her face. I can't think of her name. Matthew McConaughey, and she's married to Javier Bardem. Her name is... It'll come to me. Anyway, it's really good. Not really good. It's fine. It's a fun movie. I watched it like as a kid on cable, very briefly, and I was like, oh, this is a very interesting film. Because I was like watching in between commercial breaks, switching between other channels and stuff. I was down in Medford visiting my aunt at the time, and Matthew McConaughey and it's gonna come to me randomly. But it's like early 2000s, I think like 2005-ish movie about like a treasure hunter trying to find like some long lost Ironside Confederate ship or something like that that's maybe full of treasure, maybe not. And then they get like caught into like this African civil war that's going on in Mali, and the lady character is a WHO doctor who's trying to find this outbreak and yada yada yada. It's very like expansive, but it's also like what's the word? It's simple. It's easy. It's like boiled down. It's Indiana Jones-esque in the way that it's just kind of a fun watch, and it kind of talks about like a little corner of the globe, but it's not like Indiana Jones-esque where it's like, oh, now there's, the Ark of the Covenant, or, God and aliens and stuff. It was just like, oh, fucking got some Confederate gold going on. Okay, this was... What film was this? I think this was Fuji 200 that I shot 2 years ago on the beach. So yeah, I don't know, it was just kind of funny because it was like, I remember watching this as a kid and watching it again as an adult. I was like, oh, this is just a fun little thing to check out, to enjoy. Oh man, look at my posture a little bit. And her name is... I keep thinking of Ava Mendes. I know it's not Ava Mendes, but it's... It'll come to me. It'll be a random thing. Owen Elliott is looking great, by the way, just in case anyone was interested. I think next time I do the live stream, I'll definitely have a different setup. I'm just using my phone right now because easier, I guess. Easier on my end to deal with stuff, and it's also like, because it's my phone, I'm not feeling the need to like check my phone all the time and stuff. But I will try to figure out a better system. Again, it's just like with me and technology, sometimes it can just be oil and water. Nowhere does the cranky old man in me reveal itself more than when I'm in crowds, or just driving around up here, or dealing with technology. Like relatively easy to solve technology too. Like this probably is not like an issue at all. Like if I just thought about it and did like a modicum of research, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is really straightforward. But it's the same with me in like, I don't know how to use Twitter or Instagram threads or Reddit. Never been on Reddit really. Never been on, what's the other one? Discord. Yeah, never really been on that. I've been on Twitch like one time because my buddy had like a little Twitch stream that he would do, so I would pop in to like support him, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I can see why people enjoy this, and then I never really went on again. And that's because I just don't do it. I just don't do it. And then my excuse that I give myself is, I've got other stuff going on. Like I got cameras to fix, and I've got videos to edit, and all this stuff, which I think are very reasonable excuses. But ultimately, I just enjoy. It ain't much, but it's honest work, Like my life of being a 27-year-old, 90-year-old kind of thing, a 99-year-old. I remember like talking to older people, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not that young." I'm like, "Dog, I've already broken my hip. Like, I'm older than most. I'm older than the hills, as some would say, but not really. I just think old at heart, so to speak. But yeah, anyway, back to the point at hand. I think next time I'll have a bit of a better setup with some more consistent audio, and I'll try to do a better job promoting it so we have more than 5 people on at a time. Not that this is not good, this is great. I appreciate all of you watching. But, the fuck is this shit? Oh, it's just cat. Nice. More cat photos. But yeah, I would like to make it a little bit more of a deal for next time. I just wanted to do something today because I have now 500 videos, or over 500 videos on the channel, and getting kind of close to 5,000 subscribers. So I thought it'd be good to, do that, talk about that, sort some negatives, show some appreciation for all you guys, give you all like 2 hours worth of me just sitting here jabbing away while I kind of half watch the fights, which are honestly pretty decent. Outside of the first fight was not good, and that's just, I think, because Shannon Bownen and the other lady just aren't that great. But the other fights have been fantastic, and I imagine a lot of the other fights on the card are going to be great. Oban Elliott is looking really nice, so that's good. And then also, I think I've made fairly decent headway in this whole process. It makes it a little bit easier now that there's a few drops in the metaphoric bucket here. But still, as I look at this massive, I mean, like, just, I'm gonna have to do some math because I would like to know what the number is of like how many rolls of film I've shot in the last 6 years, 7 years. Just an insane amount, it feels like. And I like look at this, I'm like, oh yeah, it's outrageous, like just outlandish amount of film that I've shot. But makes for more content to talk about, so that's cool. And then in total, I've sorted through, let's see, do some adding up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and this is 18. 18 rolls. That's cool. Fucking. Great. Sweet. Nice. Yeah, that's not good. 18 rolls in about 2 hours. Gonna have my work cut out for me. Definitely gonna need to get more of these things. And more binders too. But that's chill. We're all having fun, right? Oh, we're all sweating a lot, right? No, just me? Cool, nice. Oban Elliott wins. I'm assuming unanimous decision, probably 30-27. Well deserved, well earned victory there. Check the chat real quick. Oh man. Not blank. Doesn't look good though. Alright. Plowing on ahead. I think we might be able to get through these next two with the remaining two sleeves. I just don't want to get like halfway into one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 18. I should get through. Yeah. My math skills are abhorrent, to say the least. Math is the furthest thing from my strong suit, and I keep like thinking maybe at some stage in life I'll learn to get better about it, but I'm not hopeful. Really, is what it comes down to. This is at the Chinese market, I think, or something like that. Oh. Yeah, any ideas on how to improve my math skills? Highly recommended. But I also just think that at some stage in life, I'm just having to accept that this is not going to be something that I'm going to excel at. Math, it's just not for me. I do like addition and stuff. I took physics in high school because I thought it'd be really cool to get good at physics. It's not. I mean, I'm sure it is. Like, I'm sure if someone's like, physics is my thing, awesome. Like, that's great. I'm happy for you. It's not for me, though. I found out. It might have been my teacher. She was not the best. But also, I was in high school. And I just don't think high school's especially me, was not a very good environment for my learning. Because I don't like authority. Not really. I like authority sometimes, but I don't know, just some teachers, I feel like I rubbed them the wrong way, or they rubbed me the wrong way, or something would happen. But it's just like, we've got a major disconnect here. So physics didn't shake out, and then math was really no different. I don't think my brain works that way. So anytime like someone is good at math, like I had a buddy who was like really good with math. It just was like, you know this? And he's like, yeah, it's easy. I was like, nah, dude. Like, fucking, what are you talking about? It's easy. There's no way. And he's like, yeah, no, it makes complete sense to me. And I was like, you are, I don't know, shocking. It was fantastic. My other buddy, I was just on the phone with earlier today. Now I'm realizing I've done a lot of talking today, but like, not really to other people. Like, I picked up my friend dropping off at the airport, and then I talked to my girlfriend for a bit before she left to go see her friend. And then I talked to my buddy on the phone, and now I'm talking to 3 people here. Thank you all for watching. But now I'm talking to, again, not real people. So it's like, I've had very many, I guess not real people, but this is very one-way. There we go. That's much kinder. One-way traffic, conversationally speaking. But I was talking to my buddy earlier today about electronic stuff, and he's like really into circuit boards and stuff like that, and I'm not. It's just not really something I'm great at. Like, I'm definitely better with like mechanical cameras and stuff like that, but he is like, I don't know, he understands codes and all the sorts of other stuff. So he's helped me out with a project, which I guess as a special treat for sticking around, I will share with you all watching, and maybe you can let me know if you think it's cool or not. But I have an idea to make a grip for an ME Super. So basically the idea behind it would be, it's under the bottom plate of the Nemi Super with a portion of it that kind of comes up as part of an actual grip. But in the lower component, it would be a rechargeable battery system. So it would kind of mean you don't have to use the LR44 batteries anymore. There'd be some sort of lithium ion battery in there with a board to regulate power to the rest of the camera. And then you could just plug it in with like a USB-C cable to charge it. So my thought process behind that was, that would be really nice to kind of modernize the system. And as I'm looking at like the Pentax 17, I'm just thinking like, it kind of blows my mind a little bit that it's a CR2 battery, because CR2 batteries aren't very common and they're not like ultra affordable. Like, it's not a AA battery, it's a CR2. And the way that like the grip kind of juts out, it's a whole discussion, but I just don't really like it. I don't really like it. I was like, in my mind, it would be so much smarter to have like a rechargeable internal battery system or something like that. I'm sure they probably thought of that. I'm sure there's reasons why they didn't want to do that, but I was thinking it'd be kind of neat to make a grip and do that. So he's helping me with the low light. He's helping me with the construction of that. He's gonna do like a 3D printed body for it, and then kind of build that into the rest of the system there. So we'll see how it shakes out, but on one hand I'm excited because it would be nice to produce something that can be used by others and stuff like that. But on the other hand, my realistic brain is thinking like, who really wants rechargeable grip basically for a camera? And on one hand, I'm thinking it will modernize the camera. It'll modernize the idea of like shooting film. You won't have to buy LR44 batteries anymore. You can just plug it into the same thing that you plug into your phone or your, computer or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna take off or not. I might still develop it, maybe just make a few different models to kind of have and use for my own cases, and I don't know. I gotta get some more of the balls rolling, so to speak, before I do like a full R&D thing to see if it is anything that anyone would be interested in. I feel like the use case might be so limited that people won't be, but we'll see. We'll see. While we're talking about experimental film projects or film camera projects, has anyone heard of the like I'm Back people? Because I've not heard anything else from that camp. I've not really looked into it too much more, but like, I don't know if they're still out there and doing stuff or what, but the buzz on that I felt like died down really quickly. And then I was like trying to tell people about like, oh, this is kind of exciting. And I was definitely in the minority there. Like, I was like, yeah, this is cool. And people were like, why would you want that? I was like, yeah, I guess. And I think my excitement for it kind of died down a lot when I realized that it wasn't just going to be the film canister and then the sensor, but then there's also like this additional processing unit that has to be added onto the bottom, which makes sense, but like it's this big other brick thing. And then when you realize that you're shooting with like a micro four thirds sensor that's like really out of date, I'm like, okay, so what's the benefit here? Like, it's a more expensive way to use a film camera for much lower quality images. Nice, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. God bless them. Wish them the best. I hope it works out fantastically for them, but I don't know. I do not know. All right, I think we're gonna call it there because I have 4 spots left on this sheet. I'm not gonna be able to fit any more in there, and I don't really want to get started on another one, but there we go. Got through, let's see, 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow, 20. Look at that. So smart. 20 rolls of film. And I just have the rest of the bucket of shame to go through. For a first attempt, though, I would say that was fairly successful. 2 hours, 20 rolls. Not great. Granted, a lot of that time I was probably not as locked in as I could have been. But for all intents and purposes, those are pretty decent metrics to go off of. Oh man, my back is killing me. Holy shit. All right, let's see. 2 hours. And this was, what's today's date? Is it the 27th, I think? Gotta make sure I got money for rent. Ugh. But yeah, so we've got the rest of this to get through, which is a lot. But in 2 hours, I got through about this much of it. So, yay. But I want to show you guys before we call it a day here. I got all these prints I got to do something with. Bear with me here. Just a fucking bunch of shit. Sweating my ass off. A bunch of 16mm film that I don't know what to do with. But these were like my OG binders that I was using. And I just kind of had whatever. Like I found this sticker on something. I thought it was kind of funny. The Valhalla Java coffee sticker. This is a really good coffee place there. A lot of coffee stuff, and then like these are all like the film that I would shoot, like Agfa. Really like Agfa film. Color Plus. This Kodak that I shot expired in 1986. First roll of 50D. First 120 roll of 800T. Kodacolor 1000. So, really awesome stuff. And then this, I think, was the next project that I was going to be digging into, but it never really took off the ground. These are all of the ones I haven't scanned, so I've developed them, but I haven't scanned them. So I don't know what's on them, but that's a little bit of a... I don't know, we'll see. Mysteries, fucking mysteries. Anyway, that is it, I think, for now. Gotta clean up this fucking mess. Alright. Oh, brother. But yeah, anyway, that's it for now. Thank you all for tuning in. Fucking hell, that was a long time. Appreciate you all very much for watching. Like it if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Join the channel as well if you want to continue to help me pay rent and do fun stuff like this. That would be great. But anyway, that is all. I'm gonna be done now. So we'll see if I can figure out how to end this. I think fucking that maybe, I don't know, that awkward. Yeah, and bye.